A pleasant and blessed Friday evening to one and all. I am Carl Christopher. As we look back at the year 2020, which was one of the most difficult years for many of us, I just want to take this opportunity to say I am very, very, very sorry for all the persons I have done wrong, did injustice, offended, falsely accused, wrongly judged, lied on, and most importantly, thieved from. Please find it in your heart to forgive me in the name of Jesus. Over and out. Welcome to the second episode of The Weekly Savage, and the first for 2021. Like many of you, we here at The Weekly Savage have made a few resolutions to make the show better. And like many of you, we have already broken them. So you're stuck with this crap. In regional news, residents of St. Vincent and the Grenadines brace themselves for what seems now like the imminent eruption of Mount Soufriere. Residents have been warned that they may have to evacuate their homes within 24 hours as the volcano begins to spew lava from newly formed dome after lying dormant for decades. Authorities have issued an orange alert for the area, affecting more than 100,000 people, as the latest eruption is investigated. It's times like this I often think to myself, wouldn't it be great if there was a regional airline that was willing and able to help Vincentians evacuate? To Mount Soufriere, don't bring that 2020 shit to 2021. Please and thank you. Barbados has announced a 2-week lockdown after a spike in COVID cases linked to a super spreader event over the Christmas holidays. The authorities were even more alarmed when the video went viral. According to the Minister of Health and Wellness, Jeffrey Bostic, seen here looking completely embarrassed to be Bajan, and that's hard to do. A bus crawl on December 26th, attended by officers of the Barbados Prison Service and the Barbados Defense Force, is responsible for over 200 new cases of COVID. Here are Bajan officials with more.
I believe that you will have seen the kinds of ads that are out there encouraging people to come to bus crawls. You've seen the one called Brandy and Panani. You will also, no doubt, have seen another one scheduled for the 23rd of June called a no underwear bus crawl. These bus crawls are obviously a clear and present danger.
I'm assuming I love crap over so much. The one good thing to come out of this situation is that we now know how to say punani in sign language. Prime Minister Gaston Brown issued a letter of solidarity and support for the leadership of Barbados. The correspondence is as follows. Dearest Mia, I'm deeply troubled to learn of the recent events in Barbados that have caused a sudden surge in the number of COVID-19 cases, despite all the diligent and careful protocols that your government implemented to ensure that the virus did not spread in the community. I know that your health authorities and law enforcement agencies have acted swiftly to address the problem, and I'm confident with the support of the Barbadian people, the situation will be brought under control, and new measures introduced to stop a reoccurrence. Apart from expressing my solidarity with you, the purpose of this letter is to advise that while our border authorities will continue rigid adherence to our protocols for the entry into Antigua and Barbuda, we will not be prohibiting travel from and to Barbados. Further, I want to assure you of my government's readiness to be of any help that we are capable of giving the government of Barbados at this difficult time. Barbados is not alone. XOXO. With kind regards, Gassy. To which the Barbados Prime Minister responded, "You're sweet, but what that mustache do?" Locally, Saddam Diaz was granted bail in the sum of $20,000 after he was charged for assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. Here's what happened. Diaz lost his phone, so Diaz drove around until the phone connected to his Bluetooth. Diaz then found his phone at the side of the road. How Diaz's phone end up on the side of the road? I have no idea. You'll have to ask Diaz. Someone then asked Diaz, why is he blocking the road? The ass pulls out a gun and told him to fly over. I guess that's just the ass being the ass. One thing of note, if your name is Saddam, don't pull a gun for something that simple. You already know what everyone is thinking. Antigua celebrates the Honorable Hugh Marshall Sr. being made Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire on Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II 2021 New Year's Honours List. The retired politician served as Parliamentary Secretary from 1976 to 1980, but is best known for being the Member of Parliament for the constituency of St. Mary's South for 14 years, and lip jokes. 2 European tourists were sentenced to time served and ordered deported after pleading guilty to breaking into the office of a guest house in Otters. His fellow inmates said they enjoyed the cultural exchange and will miss that giant camel toe. Team Antigua, Travis West and Joseph Nunes are now making their way across the Atlantic in the 2020 Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge, and it's clear that nobody seems to care. Ever since the ladies did it, 2 guys apparently are just not that interested, proving once again that women can ruin anything for men. From medical benefits to the police, Antigua's gone Jerusalema crazy. Even a serious news show such as The Weekly Savage is not immune, and we have even shot our own Jerusalema challenge. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, Jerusalem. We're actually going to shoot it and I have to edit it and it's going to be good. The guys are really excited. So, yo, it's going to be great. We'll be right back. It's been said too many times that 2020 was a shocking year. From the passing of Kobe and Gigi to COVID, our lives changed in so many ways that no one could see coming. Unless you went to Nana Adams' church, they saw everything. Party politics in Antigua didn't disappoint, as the embattled Asset Michael made several appearances across local media, eventually challenging Gaston Brown as the head of the ABLP. In the battle I have dubbed Brown versus Booze, many see Asset Michael as the clear underdog, everyone except his close advisor. Tonight, we interview Mr. Michael's advisors, the firm of Grey Goose and Cranberry. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
You are most welcome to have us. And believe me, it is your absolute pleasure. No absolute. We do not do absolute around here. Our client is a man of taste.
Thank you very much.
Firstly, how long have you been advising Mr. Michael?
Mr. Michael is our favorite client. He has been through many agencies over the years, but he has stuck to us.
I remember our first meeting.
A great day. Merriment was had by all.
It was a nightmare. I used to have eyes. I had to scratch them out after all the I seen.
As I said, merriment was had by all. It was a rough time when he gave his life to the Lord, but it's a good thing the Lord didn't want him and sent him back.
Do you really think that your client will be successful in challenging Mr. Brown for the leadership?
When we are together, my client knows he can. But in the morning, he knows he cannot. But then, we are together again.
Imagine me and you, I do. I think about you every night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight. So happy together. If I should call you up, invest a dime, and you say you belong to me, and he's my mind. Imagine how the world could be so very fine, so happy together.
With the detainment of your client in the UK, what does the future hold for Mr. Michael?
We're actually very excited about Mr. Michael's future. Our client is a man of varied talents, so we are sure he'll be fine. I'm really not sure. My job is really to keep him free of urinary tract infections. But you don't want to know what else is in there. I get a lot of therapy.
Don't be silly. Our client is going to be a star. Hollywood is calling. Mr. Michael is a sexy leading man. This is very hush-hush. But if you promise to keep it to yourself. Look, I'll show you.
Sometimes the world just needs some crazy.
Let me make this populism clear. Cursing people, this is not carnival in points.
Constantly, in some issue with someone.
And when it does, there's only one man who can do the job.
Those I fought Baldwin, Robin, I fought Leonard Weston, Danny was all of them.
I said Michael is out of control.
Gaston Monk cannot push him out of the Labour Party. I will charge him, tell him call a convention. If he's man enough, call a convention and challenge him within the Labour Party.
No friendship will be held above and beyond the interests of the people of Antigua and Barbuda.
I'm not saying I'm a saint. I'm not saying I'm innocent. I'm not saying I'm a bad behavior.
This guy is now a burden to carry, and I've had enough of Acid Michael and his shenanigans.
Acid Michael is.
He's totally indisciplined. He's rotten, literally beyond redemption.
Fuken Newts.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you for being here. We'll be back with tonight's feature. According to a dictionary, the definition of the road to hell is paved with good intentions is the Barbuda Land Act. The problem is, the plot of the first act had so many holes, it could have starred in a German porno. And if you know, then you know. And if you know, you're going to hell. The act basically stated that the lands of Barbuda was owned by all Barbudans and only Barbudans. The rationale for the act was founded on the acknowledgement of their sustained occupation and use of the land for 300 years, having been deposited there as slaves from the 1630s and upon clear expression of their will. Unlike our forefathers, who applied to be slaves at least 4 times before choosing Antigua, I'm sure it was a proud day for the family when the slave ship weighed anchor and left Africa. The 2007 Act was a result of successive governments being the mother on the phone with her sideman.
My friend came to the door, she said, well, I was on the phone cooking me and my baby some breakfast. And she said, hey, something wrong, it's popping. I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, no. So the girl come downstairs, she come out her apartment with her baby with no shoes on. I said, oh, girl, it's cold outside. She said, something ain't right. I said, oh, man. She said, oh, man, the building is on fire.
Nobody wanted to fight with Barbuda, so the culture was to just give them what they want. The result of that will always be a child in the supermarket that all the strangers want to beat their ass. You know the ones. That might be your child. Somebody has to be the adult because the soft choices will always have to be corrected and it will hurt. The first people to get hurt were you and I, the government, and thus the people of Antigua. Remember this, Barbuda is 62 square miles. That's a third of the country, controlled by 1% of the population, give or take. And they're not even white. It also means in the same country, Barbudans had the right to own land in Antigua, while Antiguans didn't have the same opportunity in a third of their own country. That's one thing. And let's say it isn't that big of a deal. But the Treasury of Antigua must find $6 million a year to help support the council, who in turn employs a large percentage of Barbuda's working population. Because of lack of investment, positions are oversubscribed. Like, do you really need 200 cleaners, Trevor? If you need that much people to clean a toilet, what the did you eat? What we have created is a welfare state, and it's great for some. Who it's not great for is the sugar daddy picking up the bill. The 2007 Barbuda Land Act was a hindrance to the investment that was needed to help cover the bill for Barbuda. So Barbuda wasn't only our sugar baby, but baby thinks certain things are nasty. This was fine during our glory days. Money was pouring in, so it wasn't a problem. When baby wanted to get her hair did, she got it did. But as our economy leveled and started to decline in many ways, some started to wonder, when are we going to turn from sugar daddy to pimp daddy? Then came the Barbuda Land Act Part 2, Barmageddon, starring Hurricane Irma. And she's a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
Hurricane Irma gave us a full frontal view of Barbuda, laid it out buck naked for the world to see. Barbuda quickly ran around the Catholic Church before being housed in different locations around Antigua. Now, don't think we're going to just glaze over this Catholic Church incident. We're coming back to that, all right? What you saw was incredibly strange, certainly disgusting for some, and surprising for others, and some saw exactly what they wanted to see. Land held in common sounds like nirvana. All of us sharing the land, living free, not wearing deodorant. But in reality, it's salt and fertile land. It's a time bomb. Fertile, fertilizer, a bomb. That's the result. As bad as Irma was, some buildings, especially the older ones, offered no resistance at all. Land in common really means no access to loans, no adherence to building regulations, no real enforcement by the DCA, and thus no insurance. As much as we bicker about aid, if Barbudans had more insurance coverage, recovery would have been much quicker, and no one in their right minds could argue that, except some desperate politicians. Before 2004, there was really no regulation or enforcement, and even after that point, it was only on big projects. So some Barbudans had no official way of knowing if their homes were any good. Added to that, the method of financing, which was no financing at all, meant houses would be built over several years, sometimes exposing steel to the elements, salty elements. I mean, UPP candidate didn't win the primary, salty. Like your wife having to admit that she was wrong and waiting for the next argument, salty. I'm talking cricket legends seeing how much the current players are making right now, salty. I mean, I can continue, but that would take a whole show. The devastation of Barbuda finally forced the hand of our government, and we had to deal with the Barbuda situation. And led by the Prime Minister, the government introduced an amendment to the Barbuda Land Act, allowing for the freehold of land in Barbuda. As you can imagine, this did not go over well. Even though Barbudans were allowed to get a deed to the land they occupy for $1 EC dollar. Not US, not Bajan, $1 EC. Who wouldn't want that? Lamin?
We certainly have to, yeah. Oh boy. Yes, oh boy.
I don't know either. You might say it's a land grab, but still, only Barbudans benefit from this. And you have the opportunity to go from sugar baby to boss baby. The purpose of this feature is not to highlight the problems of the land held in common, but to show the benefits of freehold land to the Barbudans. First and foremost are loans. That's how ordinary people in the rest of the world gain wealth. That and of course go-getters, you know, the group will move fast. Up to now, the group till move fast. You can use your land to get a loan to build a home or invest in a business. Well, maybe not a business because it's a really small and low-income island. But you know what would make it better? Or you know what would make a business work? More people. Barbuda will attract high-income residents because it's quite expensive to build over there since everything has to be shipped in from Antigua in small batches. And, well, if more people are building, you can bring more supplies and maybe even open a hardware store, to match the one gas station that's over there, like a little set. That would make it more affordable to build in Barbuda. But don't mind me. I'm just thinking out loud. The property value would rise, and what you pay for $1 now would be worth a lot more later. Right now, marrying a Barbudan is a better investment than Bitcoin. The tourism investments alone will create jobs that can support new businesses. The presence of a larger population, permanent and otherwise, will bring improvements in infrastructure and services. Imagine getting your first KFC. I mean, listen, my brothers and sisters in Barbuda, you know that you want that deep fried crack and a biscuit. Would you be losing land? Yes. Would you be gaining land? Also yes. I know it makes no sense, but trust me. And I know most of you trust that, like Bill Gates with a needle. But it's true. Barbuda in its present state is unsustainable, and freehold land offers you an opportunity for ownership and empowerment. If you choose to be left behind, don't complain when you are. We'll be right back. Now, the Catholic Church. What is wrong with you people? How a naked man run through a whole church and y'all just keep singing and playing music like we're on the Titanic or something? And them two women in white, I would like to meet those women. I mean, did you see the second one? She was like, boy, that mustard seed can move my mountain anytime. And that man, he was athletic. We need to get him on our Olympic team. You see, he just leap over on pew and slap a woman in she face with. Can I say that on here? I mean, y'all were just way too composed for me. It just felt like if you are accustomed to seeing naked people run through your church. And that's disturbing on a whole nother level. Why the hot girls don't go crazy in Antigua and run through a church naked? I mean, they should make that a segment in the Queen Show. I mean, I would certainly get saved for that. In any event, mental health is no joke. So we're praying for that gentleman, and we're praying for the priest, and I'm saying a special prayer for that lady in the back because I could see she had impure thoughts right there in church. That was the Weekly Savage. You guys have a good night and a prosperous new year.